What's up, guys? Belligerent here with another Bloodline video. This is going to be a short one, though. We are just checking out the new clan that just released. Let's jump in here to the Renowned Champion page, and let's take a look at the parade. Their clan names are getting stranger and stranger. Okay, so the parade, they're marksmen, okay, and they come with an interesting twist. So let's look at how we normally do it, right? We're going to take a look at the passive, the active, the ultimate, make a determination which one you should be using, or just kind of talk about them in general. Okay. So the male passive, the caster has a 20% chance of landing a hit on an ally. So understand that the very first line on this is 1 out of 5 attacks is going to hit your own team, dealing 30% less damage on them, which grants 50 wrath. What's wrath, you might be asking? So the only way we have to know or suspect what wrath is from female Karg here, and it's this one. Each time the caster takes damage, they gain a layer of wrath. Each layer of wrath increases the caster's strength by a percentage, stacks up to 10 times, okay? So the only problem with that description is it doesn't tell us what the base percentage is. So we don't really know how much percentage we're getting from that wrath, but that is kind of what wrath does. The attack does not kill the target. So understand, he can put you at like 1 health, but it won't be fatal. It just means the next hit you take is going to be fatal, which is really kind of pointless. I think it would be funnier if it could be fatal and you got your own teammate, kind of like female Lux. So think about this. Every shot has a 20% chance of you giving your opponent a free female Lux without them running it, if you're running this guy. When an allied or enemy champion dies, the caster's normal attack gains a significant attack speed boost for the next 3 seconds. So 3 seconds, we're talking probably 2 to 3 attacks. Kind of pointless. Dealing total damage equal to 500% of the champion's strength and additional damage equal to 500% of the target's constitution loss, capped at 400% of the caster's attack. What is the point of that? All right, let me reread that last part because that was one of the more confusing things by the time I got done with it. When an allied or enemy champion dies, the caster's normal... Okay, so when anybody dies, they get an attack speed boost for 3 seconds and an attack buff of 500% of his strength. Additionally, he'll do damage equal to 500% of the target's constitution loss. So however much health they lost when they died is how I'm reading this, is how much is you take. So if somebody, to make it simple, if somebody died from taking 1 damage, right? If they had 1 health left and they died, they took that 1 health damage, you would gain an additional 500 damage, okay? And then obviously that would multiply by however much health they lost. So if they lost 100 health, that would be 500 times 100 is 550,000. Yeah, 50,000 damage added. So it does have a huge potential to stack damage. However, the problem is it caps at 400% of his attack. Okay, so there's potential there. I just don't know how much. And I don't know about giving a 20% chance to have a free female Lux, essentially. I mean, I know it's only 1 attack, but it's every attack. Like, if you hit a bad roll, he could do nothing but... Okay. Anyway, laughing gas throws a smoke grenade into the most crowded area. I will be curious to see if that is actually true, because female Sally Horn is supposed to jump into the middle of the, essentially the way they worded it, I was expecting her to jump into the middle of the most crowded area, and she just jumped straight up and down. So we'll see how well they programmed the most crowded area. Dealing damage equal to a percentage of the champion's strength to enemies covered in smoke. Smoke screen lasts 6 seconds and reduces the hit rate by 30%. So essentially it's giving you a 30% dodge increase. When the enemy in the smoke triggers dodge, see, the champion gets excited and gains 40% energy. Now, I don't know whether that is the champion that dodged or if that's him. I'm going to guess that's him because he's usually referred to as the target or as the champion. Other people are referred to as the target. So I'm going to assume that anytime when he throws the smoke grenade, any of your team that dodges, every time they dodge inside that smoke screen, he is going to gain 40 energy, which is not that big when you consider the full bar is 1,000. It would take an obscene number of dodges for this to really be relevant. When hiding in the smoke, they gain, and I am going to have to assume that applies to everybody, not just him. Like whoever is in the smoke, they gain an additional 40% attack speed without suffering from the hit rate reduction. What in the world? This is so confusing. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I'm reading this wrong. Maybe when an enemy in the smoke triggers dodge. So I'm thinking about this again. It reduces the hit rate by 30%. So maybe everybody in the smoke gets their hit rate reduced by 30%, which is not as good as I thought, because that means your team is missing just as much as their team, which means it doesn't matter. And then when an enemy in the smoke triggers dodge, so does that mean when the enemy dodges, he gets excited, like kind of pissed off that they dodged? I don't know. That would have to be more in practice. Okay, let's see what the ultimate is. Surprise! Throws bombs to 3 random targets, dealing damage equal to a very low percentage of his strength. The bomb explodes after a short lag, dealing AoE damage equal to the same low percentage of that champion's strength, or of this champion's strength, which inflicts an additional fear effect on the target for 2 seconds. For each enemy hit, the caster gains 6% more attack for 6 seconds. All right, so overall, this guy is a complete wild card. So while I don't know if he's going to be useful, I really like the theme they went here with, right? It's a jester. So everything, you put him on the board and everything at least reads like it's going to be chaos. People are going to be missing. He's going to be shooting the other team. He's going to be shooting your team. He's going to put bombs that cause fear all over the place. Like, this guy might actually be really good kind of crowd control, but it's going to be kind of organized chaos. He sounds interesting enough that I might want to play with him. We'll see. I don't know. 20% scares me, but we got to do something with him just to see the chaos that it's going to cause. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the girl. Okay. Lethal joke. Points the gun and pulls the trigger every 6 seconds, shooting either a grotesque bullet or a frenetic bullet towards the shooter. I'm hoping that does not mean she only does one attack every 6 seconds. I'm just hoping that every 6 seconds this 50-50 chance of grotesque and frenetic happens. Each bullet's effect remains active until the next shot is fired. When more than 2 allied champions have died, a frenetic bullet is guaranteed. Grotesque takes 30% less damage and has 80% chance to get 50 energy additionally when the champion's attacked. Frenetic deals 30% more damage and has 80% chance to get 50 energy additionally when the champion attack reduces the frenetic effect on allies by 20%. All right, senseless violence. Fires 2 shots of pellets in a cone towards the front, each shot dealing damage equal to a low percentage of the champion's strength. In grotesque status, this heals allies within range for 100% of pellet damage. Okay, so if she's in grotesque status, she shoots your teammates and heals them. In frenetic status, deals damage to all units within range, with allies taking 80% of the damage, which is non-lethal for them, gaining frenetic for 5 seconds. So I'm almost reading this as the buff from frenetic, which is dealing 30% more damage. So it's kind of like they're taking damage, but getting damage buff is almost how I'm reading it. I don't know. We'll really have to see how these guys play out. This is very, they did a very good job of making this extremely confusing. Okay, Gleeful Rampage. Enters a frenzy status for 5 seconds and fires at a random allied or enemy champion 3 times every 1 second, with each shot dealing damage equal to 170% or equal to a very low percent of the champion's strength. The damage dealt to allies is non-lethal. Rapid firing has no range limit. Dealing shooting damage to opponent targets will not restore their energy. During the frenzy, the caster takes 20% more damage. Each attack heals 20% of the damage dealt. The caster becomes immune to control effects in grotesque status and gains 15% more critical rate in frenetic status. The allied champion hit also gains a frenetic effect for 4 seconds. Guys, I can't even tell you what's going on with these champions, honestly. This is one of the more confusing clans they've released. I think we're just going to have to get some play put in. Initial, from what I understand of what I read, I would say the male sounds like a safer play. The female, I'm not exactly clear on what she does, so I'm not sure. I am interested to see what she does. Okay. So then I'm trying to find one of them. There we go. All right. And then we want to look at their clan trait. This is the big one, tardiness. Each attack reduces the target's attack speed by 11.4% at level 18. I'm going to assume that's going to hit probably 12 at 22. For 5 seconds, stacking up to 3 layers. So you can stack that up to, it looks like 33 to 35% for 5 seconds. This is a huge trait. You need to buy this companion, in my opinion, to get this trait in a meta where agile is king. The ultimate counter is every person on your team giving attack slow. So that's kind of my take on this. Is I'm definitely going for the companion on this one because that clan trait feels broken, especially now that we have champions that are jumping onto the backline, so we can hit those backline targets as well. I think that trait is really something that you need to have. So we may follow up and do another video on these if I get one leveled up and can play test it, and kind of, I'd actually like to get both leveled up to play test. Or maybe maybe I can find somebody who has them leveled up or gets them leveled up, and especially her. Like, I really want to test her to see what exactly she does. So anyways, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. I'm Belligerent. Peace.